Islamic extremist organization founded by Uyghur jihadists in Western China, considered broadly as a terrorist group. Over 200 acts of terrorism, resulting in at least 162 deaths and over 440 injuries. So I'm guessing this group's actions are probably going to be the justification for a lot of what the Uyghur Muslims, 12 million of them, have had to put up with. It's crazy. 9/11 was such a big deal. 200 acts of terrorism. It took one to rack up 3,000 deaths in America. It's actually incredible. Well, these people are probably pieces of shit. We're not here to defend Islamic extremists. This is a Washington, D.C. based, tankies aren't going to like that one at all. They would call this like a Western imperialist measure. A Washington, D.C. based non-profit human rights and political rights group established in June of 2017. The group supports the East Turkestan independence movement. Salih Hudayar, a Uyghur American consultant and graduate student, founded the group after pre-existing Uyghur organizations failed to effectively call for East Turkestan's independence, deeming it controversial. This organization is it's quite new, so I imagine that it doesn't have much under its belt. I mean, we're all CIA agents, right? So here's something to think about with regard to this. So I'm a really big fan of thinking about political relationships in a materialist way. When countries do something, it's usually because there were influences behind it that led to those behaviors. It's not because, like, one nation is more ideologically driven towards something. There are usually preconditions that explain behavior like this. So there are many people on Twitter who think that any time there is an independence movement in a country that America does not have friendly relationships with, that independence movement is like serving American interests.
We want to be able to leap on that stockpile and stabilize it if necessary. And the third reason we're there is because there are 20 million Uyghurs, and they don't like Han Chinese in Xinjiang province in Western China. And if the CIA has to mount an operation using those Uyghurs, as Erdogan has done in Turkey against Assad, there are 20,000 of them in Idlib in Syria right now, for example. That's why the Chinese might be deploying military forces to Syria in the very near future to take care of those Uyghurs that Erdogan invited in. Well, the CIA would want to destabilize China, and that would be the best way to do it, to foment unrest and to join with those Uyghurs in pushing the Han Chinese and Beijing from internal places rather than external. Not saying it's going on right now, you didn't hear that, but it is a possibility. So that's why we're there, and I'll wager there are not a handful of Americans who realize that our military, has decided that for these strategic reasons, which are well thought out, we're going to be in Afghanistan for the next half century.